Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's live. We are still in our Launching Legacy month where I'm reintroducing you to the launch strategist. This month, we felt like it was a good a month as any. In fact, September is a great month to be launching stuff. So we thought, why not launch the website? Why not launch a couple of services? Why not just give you a reintroduction into who we are, what we do, how we can support you? So as part of that, we have a ton of great content this month. This month, you'll be hearing from clients, you'll be hearing from suppliers, you'll be hearing from partners, and we're just going to reintroduce you to the brand and encourage you to launch Legacy this month and explain what that actually means to us. But that's enough about us. Most of you will know, if you don't already know, my name is Katrina Douglas. I'm the founder of The Launch Strategist, and I help organizations launch into their next level of success. But today I'm joined by our phenomenal website designer, Nicole. Now, many of you will have had the experience of launching a website. And unfortunately, sometimes it can be quite traumatic. So when I was thinking of launching a website, it literally, because I've done it so many times, not always smooth. It took me a long time to find a web developer. I ended up finding Nicole, who is an absolute gem, all the way in Texas. And I've been so impressed with the service, so impressed with her, so impressed with the website that I just had to bring her on this month. So welcome, Nicole. Welcome.
I appreciate you, Katrina. You're making me blush. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here and talk about how we got your website going and launched, because you are the launch strategist.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Nicole, first of all, tell me, what's your story? How did we get here?
Yeah, so that's a big story. So I'm going to try and truncate it. But out of college, I graduated with a medical degree, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to help people. I know that for sure. And then life kind of happened, and it kind of knocked me off my path. And I just remember being in college, and my business professor. Don't ask me why I was taking business when I was trying to be a doctor, but I always had a passion for business, and I even took a coding class. And I always wanted to be able to dominate the internet, coding, things like that. And my professors would beg me to switch my major. But I'm like, no, I want to help people. But life took me on a totally different path. You know, I lost everything. And, you know, me and my family ended up homeless.
Wow.
And I was trying to find, what am I doing? What is happening? And I was able to find myself in those dark moments and really find my purpose and passion. And so when I started to hone in on what things that were intrinsic to me, what the universe had for me, that's when I came back to really my roots, which was always design, always still helping people. But I just had to reroute it. And that's how we got here. So
amazing, amazing. And tell me about network, because you do websites, but I feel like your mission is so much more than that. And I felt that when I was working with you. It felt like this was so much more than a website. Just you did so much more than create a website for me. So let's talk about Network, which is the name of your company and what your mission is.
Yeah, so net worth, our slogan is actually building your internet worth. So we use systems that work, right? So we want to leverage the internet to push you forward, right? So it's not just about a pretty website. You also have to have SEO. It's not just about the visual and graphic design. You want to make sure that you have good quality assurance for, you know, your customers that come in, and also do marketing as well. So the full total gambit of what a business will need online, that's what we attack.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, you know, websites are a really big part of the launch process. So a lot of times when we launch stuff, so, you know, whether that's launching to start, whether that's launching to grow and iterate the website, or launching to exit, it typically includes a website, some part of the process. But like I said, it can be quite a painful process. It really can be. So number one, why do you think that is? And number two, how can we avoid that pain?
Yeah, so for me, it's not a pain. Obviously, I love it. But for a business owner, it's always kind of hard to marry yourself to your designer and your developer. That pain is going to come in not doing enough research and then not doing the right research.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, when my clients come into it, they have a preset budget. And while budgeting is important, what's more important is the outcome, right?
Right.
So you want to be able to find someone within your budget, but also someone within your intrinsic self. So
Yeah.
you and me, we hit it off very well. I felt the connection, I felt the spark, and that is so important. People forget that part. You want to be able to work well with people, to understand who you're working with, and so you can get over those humps and that pain by finding someone you truly can work with. For sure.
Absolutely. And I think I knew that because I think the difficulty in the past has been that, the web developer didn't get the vision that I wanted to convey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they couldn't understand it. That could have been maybe I wasn't conveying it properly. In some instances, I wasn't clear enough to convey it properly. So not entirely blaming the web designer, but there was zero friction with you. And it blew my mind. Absolutely zero friction. And I think from the time I met you and we had that call, even after the call, I literally took, I think, maybe a couple of months to come back to you even.
Yeah.
And in that time, I spoke to other companies and I thought, you just kept coming back to me because it was that synergy. And I think a website is such an important part. And for me, it represented the next stage in our business. So prior to this, the 2 iterations before, I had kind of rustled up myself on Kartra. I been the center of the brand, and I knew that this iteration had to look a whole lot more professional, a whole lot more appealing, and I had to be off of it. So it had to really embody me and my values, but also, it had to embody me and my values, but at the same time, it had to work, it had to function, all of those things. So I needed to find someone that could capture that.
That's true.
And so it was just amazing because your first design, I was like, how has she nailed it? How has she absolutely nailed it?
Yeah.
So how have you actually done that? And your ability to just listen and hear and translate that was just impeccable. So that was the first of many wow moments, the fact that you just got it instantly. The other thing was, after we had that initial call, the onboarding was impeccable, so smooth, had all the information. I just felt really at ease. We didn't actually talk for the whole time, for the whole 2 months. Everything was done remotely, but it was so well done that I didn't feel like anything was missing. I didn't feel like we needed Zoom calls. And I was like, how is it we've not spoken and this is going so smoothly? Like, this is like, how has this happened?
My superpower.
I'm intrigued. So talk us through your process, and how did you come up with that process, and how have you made it so slick?
Yeah, so my superpower, my secret trick is finding a way, just like you said, to kind of get inside your mind, get inside your head. One thing that we love to do at Network is become you. I always tell my clients, this is your business, it's your baby, but we want to co-parent, right? Yeah. And so we have to get inside your mind. And so I don't know if you remember, but the first thing you did, I think even before, you procured our services, we had you fill out like a 10-page brand questionnaire.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Yes. So that is how we start. Okay. We literally ask these psychological questions so that we become you. All right. And so when we become you, excuse me. Sorry about that. So yeah, when we become you, the entire process, we're you. It's like our expertise as you. And so, yeah, we don't need all the big hoopla meetings, the constant weekly this and weekly that, because we are you and we are bringing that to you. And we have little milestones along the way, but by that time, we've already caught your vision and we're running with it. Yeah.
It was I have to say, I wasn't even thinking about money. Like, the first meeting we had, I knew you were the right person, but then I had to think you're a quality service, so that reflects in your price tag, rightly so. So I had to kind of think about it. Not you. Now I feel like you're not that I shouldn't be saying this, but I feel like it's nothing compared to the.
Yeah, it should be 5 times more what it is.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, wow. At first, I'm like, that's that's a little bit like I have
Yeah.
to think about that. By the time you had onboarded me, I was like, no, this is like worth every penny and more.
Yeah.
And you're right, pricing just becomes a non-entity at this
Mhm.
point because you are delivering everything that I paid for and more. I'm just like, wow. So it's incredible. And another thing for me was your knowledge of platform because when I came to you, so a bit of background, previously my very first websites were built on WordPress. Then
Mhm.
I moved to Kartra, which is an all-in-one business platform for those of you that don't already know, because I wanted the automations, I wanted the systemization. The issue with that was that it had the back end that I wanted, but the front end was too rigid. And so
Exactly.
when I came to you, I was torn. I was like, am I going to stay with Kartra or is it going to be WordPress? But you brought me a third option, which is incredible. Like, is Webflow. So let's talk about, for those that don't know what Webflow is, what is it and why did we choose it for the site?
Yeah, so Webflow is a newer platform. And right now, again, for those of you who don't know, we're kind of moving into a no code era, right? So we don't always have to have our developers. And while we do have developers on staff, we want to cut those costs by not always having to have someone code everything by hand, okay? And so with WordPress, and no knock to WordPress, but with WordPress, it really is developer based.
Yeah.
Okay. Webflow is more designer based. While it does have that intricate code there and it codes itself, you're able to, in more like a what you see is what you get editor, go ahead and design that website from the ground up. So when I'm ready to hand off to my clients, I want to be able to hand that off to them and they can take it on. I wouldn't feel comfortable handing over a WordPress site to a customer because one wrong move and that whole thing is broken, right?
Yeah.
So we're not in the business of trapping you on a platform that's going to give you a headache. So
Yeah.
Webflow all day.
Yeah. So I love it. And that was the thing. Because I trusted you, I knew that you were gonna, the advice that you were giving me was good advice. So even though I had never used Webflow before, when you told me about it, I then did research and I'm like, how did I not know about this? And even the transfer of the site, and even the fact that if I wanted to pull the code off the site, I'm not trapped. That was another thing that I was concerned about. If I have it on almost a website builder, then if I decide to end the subscription, I don't have my code, I lose my site. But with Webflow, you can extract the code so you can move the site, you have absolute flexibility. And I'm just like, how did I not know about this?
That's right.
And it's like impossible for me to break it. Like I'm still learning how to use it, getting comfortable with it. You handed over the site, I think this week or last week.
Yep.
But I can't break anything because if I break anything, I just restore a backup. Like it's impossible for me to break it, which I love, which means that I can get comfortable with it. At the moment, I'm training the team on it as well, using the training that you gave me. And so if you haven't considered Webflow, definitely look at it. It's definitely a worthy contender to WordPress. Yeah, and so far I'm absolutely loving it, and just the design flexibility. The site does not feel templated. It feels completely custom. I just love it.
Yeah,
So
you can do anything you want without breaking something.
yeah, absolutely. So we're talking about creating a website that works, because it's one thing to create a website. It's quite another to build a website that works for your business, drives revenue, and works for your business. And so when I was working with you, it was like and I'm going to show people some of the things that you just added without me even thinking, because you were like me. You were thinking like,
Yep.
and the website, the functionality behind it that you just did was incredible, from the automations to the integrations for, we've got Jotform behind there, we've got Zaps behind there, it's integrated with Kartra, there's sequences. I'm like, oh my God.
The whole
like, a whole machine that's going on behind the site that you just did. And so it just works. And everything from the call to actions, you were able to advise on, the flow of copy and things like that. So let's talk about the difference between a website that you have that may even look great but doesn't really work for your business, and what you do at Net Worth, which is about creating a website that helps you drive revenue and scale.
Right. So yeah, Everybody who wants a website wants it to be pretty, right? That's no question. We want that website to look good. So while that is a forerunning focus for us at Network, it's not the primary focus.
Right.
The primary focus is going to be conversions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once you get that website to be pretty, how are other people perceiving it? How are they invited into your journey? So of course, you'll hear every marketer and every web designer developer say, do that call to action. Yes, we want to do that call to action, but more importantly, we want to interact with your customer, right? So that's where those automations come to play. I believe on your website, we did something like a quiz, something like a scoring mechanism to where someone is saying, oh yeah, I could book a consultation. Everybody books a consultation. That's cool. However, not everybody is actually talking with their customer before a relationship could be had, right? And that's so important, is finding those key moments to really interact with the customer. So that's what we like to do here.
Absolutely. And I love it. And so what would you say, if you want a website that works for your business, are some of the key functions that you should have, some of the staples that people should have?
Definitely do not skimp on the SEO because that's going to be the number one way for people to find you organically. You're going to save a whole lot of money on marketing if you do your SEO right. Also tracking. Even if you're not running ads right now, make sure you have your pixels, make sure you have your Google Tag Manager, your GA tracking. All of your tracking needs to happen on your website because when you are ready to do ads, now you have an audience base. So again, we're talking about how pretty a website is, but we need that website to be doing work in the background. So super important.
Absolutely. So there are some people that say in this day and age, you don't necessarily need a website.
I've heard that before.
A lot of people say that, right? You
do.
don't need a website. And there are some very successful business people that don't have websites. They have landing pages, they have campaigns, but they don't have websites. So let's talk about that. What would you say to those people?
Well, having a website is kind of like waking up and putting clothes on.
Wow.
You could definitely not put clothes on. Yeah. Clothes are cute, right? And clothes tell a story, right? And so a website, no matter what, is going to tell your story. Okay. Yeah. So even with, social media, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, I have a great following and and that's cool. But what happens when that web platform changes? Because Facebook, so Instagram, all those are platforms. They own it. What happens when they get shut down? I remember, I think it was this year that Facebook was down for like 30 minutes or an hour. Yeah. Pandemonium. And so that's when people were like, I need a website. I need a website because you need somewhere where people can come to you, something that you own. Always own your gifts, own your talents. Don't let anyone tell you to own it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's so important. I feel like everywhere else is rented land. Really, all roads should lead to your website because that's the only property that you own. And I love what you said about, your brand story, because I think why I love this iteration of the site so much, because I think this is the truest version, the truest representation of the brand story, the brand narrative. I feel like for the first time, you go to the site and you understand what we mean by launching legacy. You understand what we mean by launching. You understand that we're different from, product launch formula and launching courses. You understand that differentiation. And I feel like it's my vision that's been in my head finally visualized. And I think for me as a business owner, that's incredibly, incredibly powerful. So we're actually going to show you the site and talk you through some of the stuff and show you what the site actually looks like. So
like I said, I love taking a trip down your brain, your memory lane, and pulling those out. That was so fun.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the fact that and I think we've got to also trust the experts. And I think, but you can only trust them if you trust them. Yeah. I think, you know what I mean?
And you got to first know what you want and then allow them to work their expertise.
Right. And trust that they, and I think I was able to just leave you alone to a degree. For the most part, I approved the design and then you just went because
We
you
went off that. Yep.
know about building websites better than I do. So I'm not about to start advising you on what
Right.
they're.
Yeah, I've had clients like that. I've had clients like that who were like, "Oh, that's not how we do that. Are you sure?"
Yeah. So
You are a pleasure to work with, and I'd like to have many Katrinas the rest of my career. That would be great.
yeah, no, it was incredible just to watch you work and to watch you flow. So everything from the top of the page, and because you do SEO as well, the site came SEO optimized. And so even when we were thinking about headings and stuff like that, that was in the back of what was happening as well. So you were capturing the story and capturing the vision, but you had the right balance of the narrative and also the SEO, because you have my brain and my vision, but then you also know what it's going to take to rank and translate that so that people find it. So I remember seeing this, and when I saw this in the mock-up, and I loved the first image, but then when I saw the live, I was like, oh my gosh, this is animated. Like you actually scroll through. So at the top, you immediately see the 6 P's. So it scrolls through, every picture represents a P. And again, the fact that I really wanted diversity in there. And what I also noticed, which I didn't even ask you for, on the side, there's someone sitting in a wheelchair even. So even little nuances like that, like the visuals and the imagery. I'm also someone that doesn't typically love stock photography, but actually I loved it on the site because it really represented where we were going. And so, at the top you have the call to action, get ready, get launch ready, and that takes you to a little bit about the 6 P's, and you can sign up to watch a webinar about the 6 P's. So again, there's an opportunity to capture details and engage further. And then at the top, there's so much here. You're already capturing the message, you're already capturing the vision. You can already go to all our social media, and then we begin to tell you the story. And then you have the way you did the stats and just the brand colors. But I'm going to take you down to this feature, and then you can view case studies. There's some parts that we're still kind of populating on the site, but so often we're asked for case studies, which really illustrate. And then just the way you represented the P's as well. One of my favorite things is the 6 P score. And I did not ask you for this. Like, you just came up with this, and I just saw it on the mock-ups, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Absolutely. Yes. And even when, I thought that, I would need to send you all the questions and stuff, you created something on your own. And I was like, how does she know these questions? I mean, we made some refinements and stuff, but I was like, oh, how do you know this out the gate? And just it's
literally jump inside. I mean, it's probably just I'm a very intuitive person, so I literally just jump inside your soul and I just like consume you. I did a lot of research, and I actually do that before I even book a client. I want to do research in their industry. Again, it's all a part of becoming you. It's so important. I mean, how many times did you want to copy or clone yourself? Because you can't do it all, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what we do. Yeah,
absolutely. And so so then we had the 6 P's and just the way they work. So find out your 6 P score, and then the way you did the quiz and the way you scroll through, and it's like, I would not have a clue how to do that, and I tested it and it worked perfectly, and I got like an automated PDF. I'm like, what on earth? Like, I bought a website and I got all of this stuff.
Yeah, it prints out a little certificate once you're done. Yep. I love systems and I love automation. That stuff is like a puzzle to me. It's like when you're a kid playing with the puzzles. I love it. I'm super nerdy with that stuff, but I love it.
Just how slick it is, and it's perfect. So then the email comes into the inbox, and then it's almost like people. I can see people wanting to do a consultation because now you've got your score, your P, you almost want to know, okay, what next? So you've given me this information. And I think at every step, it's about illustrating the value. And so you understand, a lot of times when people think about launching, they don't realize, they think marketing, they think ads, they think, But then when you begin to present them the P's and they begin to understand, and then they're primary, they're in a place where they're ready to have a conversation and explore. But it's really organic, really fluid. And I just loved what you did and how you translated that. And even things like this, the way you present the testimonials and the carousel, like I came up, please understand, guys, for those watching this, I can take credit for none of this. I came up with none of this. This is all Nicole, literally from a brief that I gave her. This was the very first mock-up that I gave her. And then another part that I absolutely love. And I feel like, I look at this and it's my site, but I'm like, it's almost like the appreciation I have for it is almost like it was someone else's site. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like
step into luxury. It's you.
Right. So it's incredible. So then we have, you can go to all the contents. You can go to the Launch Lab here. You can go to the blog, podcasts. We're having, we have some upcoming articles in the press that will be here, YouTube channel. And this is what I love. So this is Legacy Builder Directory. And again, we're populating this at the moment. But what you have here is you will be able to search our favorite suppliers. Nicole is going to be in here as well, because a lot of times, people come to us and they say, can you recommend a web designer? Can you recommend a videographer? Can you recommend, a copywriter? And so you'll be able to come in here and you'll be able to search and find all our favorites. So the people we love working with most on the launches. So this is really going to add value as well. And this is very much about adding value to the user, giving the users a reason to come back. And so I just love it. And then the presentation of the services as well. Again, you came up with this as well, the landing page for each of the services. So we have 3 core services. This is what we do: launch to start. So if you're starting a business, launch to grow. If you want to kind of take your business to the next level, and launch to exit. So if you're going, and then if you want to sell the business. And you can just explore. And there's so much to see, so much to explore on here. And at the same time, even though there's so much, it's so simple. It's so clean and it's so simple.
That was the fun part for me, was taking all of your content and all you wanted to do and finding a way to not overwhelm people when they're reviewing it. And so we were able to work that out. So it was nice. Nice.
Yeah. So I love it. Thank you so much.
I love it. It's
but so I really love it. So you guys go and explore. It's the launchstrategist.com. Like I said, please connect with Nicole. Nicole, tell us about Net Worth, the services that you offer, how it works, how you work with clients, the subscription model that you use. Fire away.
So we are actually going to we're actually relaunching our site probably in the next week here. So we'll have a new system. And so that's pretty exciting. You can actually still access our old website at www.networth.com. The E is a 3. So that's www.n3tworth.com. And we offer 4 core services, which is visual and graphic design. That's going to be all your graphic marketing, all your video marketing, then of course web design and SEO development, things of that nature, apps. We also do app development. Thank you for dropping that in there. And we also do marketing and reputation. So not just ads, but also your review management, your reputation. When people mention you online, we want to create opportunities for you to, find that and kind of create the conversation there, as well as tech support and sales and anything of that nature. So, we do phone calls, we handle your downline, we do all that fun stuff too. So we do that on a retainer-like basis. So you can pick and choose what you want out of our 4 core services, and then you just pay monthly. You get on-demand, unlimited services throughout that month. So we're built for business owners and entrepreneurs, as well as agencies who want to fulfill their projects. They can use us to do so. So, check us out.
I love it. And please do check them out. The web address is in the chat. Does anyone have any questions Ola, thank you so much for joining. So Ola is a phenomenal videographer, and
Oh,
he has a video marketing company. And I'm actually talking to Ola in the next couple of weeks.
oh, that's so cool.
And so, yeah, he has an incredible company. So Ola, thank you for joining live. I can see your comments there. For those of you that are joining live, catching the replay, thank you for joining us. Do feel free to like, comment, share. We'll just hang on to see if there's any questions at all. And even if you don't post any questions now, if you're watching the replay, still pop up your questions in the comments because I always come back to them. But yeah, if you need a website, I cannot recommend Nicole highly enough.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. So Nicole, thank you so much for your time. What time is it actually in Texas right now?
In Texas, it is 1:39 p.m.
Okay.
Afternoon.
Excellent, excellent.
It's crazy because honestly, I'm a night owl, so I'm up when you're up.
Yeah, I noticed because at 5 o'clock in the morning, I see messages I see emails from you. So wow, no, it's incredible. Just the service has just been phenomenal, and for me, that's everything. Service is everything.
I appreciate you so much for having me on, and I am so glad that I met you. Like I said, that network is really important. So
Yeah.
team up with me, team up with Katrina. We are good people. We would not be doing this if we weren't. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And net worth is going to be in the Legacy Builders directory as well.
yay.
So amazing. Nicole, have an amazing rest of the day. Thank you for taking the time out in your day. And we will absolutely speak. You know, we've launched the website, but I will be back. Oh my God.
We still got stuff to do. We got work to do.
This is the first of many projects.
Yay. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. And you guys have a good one. I will catch you on that replay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.